friends, it's Kim back from Making Creative Memories in Time, and today I'm here to share with you a process video that now will become a playlist for my first great biological nephew. I am so excited. I can hardly contain it. We just learned this week that my niece's baby is a boy, and since I didn't start my YouTube channel back up until after the fact, I wanted to show you the first pages in my niece's pregnancy album. So I have a ton of this paper collection in my stash, and I am 100% stash busting while I work on her pregnancy journal. So I had a gut feeling from the get-go this baby was going to be a boy, so I tried to use as much mauve and girly parts of the pretty parts of this paper collection on the front end because I knew once we had the announcement that we were having a precious baby boy, these pretty florals and things probably wouldn't get used as heavily. I am a scrapbooker who believes you can 100% use florals and butterflies and bling on boy pages, especially if they're little. Now, my 20-year-old nephew, not so much. So this is the title page, and this is the very first ultrasound picture that my niece got, and this is a picture of the picture, and then there's just a little hidden journal tag here. So that's the first page, title page, and then the second page in the album is when my niece made the announcement socially on social media and made it official that she and Brant were expecting a baby, and they made that announcement on Easter Sunday. And so I really enjoyed this. Again, I wanted to use more of the mauves, the mulberry tones, because the little pink hearts, because I knew once we find out this is a baby boy, there we go. And so these are the first two pages in the album, and I will not be creating, I don't think I'll be creating any 2-page spreads for this, but since I'm using the same exact paper suite all along, we should be good to go, and it will all be cohesive and match. And so what I am getting ready to scrapbook today is when we found out on Tuesday that baby is a boy. So I'm just starting out with a 12 by 12 piece of glacier cardstock, and then I cut this piece down. I think this is, yes, this is 11 1/4, so I cut 3/4 off, and we're just gonna line this up. And here I am just attaching the white cardstock to that glacier base using some adhesive. This is, again, 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. Then you will see me pull in that beautiful shortbread plaid piece. That is a 10 by 10 square. I'm just going to adhere that down. And then the star piece that you see over to the left is a 2.5 by 12. I fidget just a little with where I want the placement of this pattern paper, and then I decide butting it all the way up against the left white edge, and this is going to go the full length, the full 12 inches. This is just a 1/2 inch zip strip. It's the Harbor cardstock, and that just adds some color and depth and definition on that border. Now I am getting ready to put the photos on the photo placeholders and the Harbor cardstock. I fidgeted around a little bit with these. I trimmed each photo to 3 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then the photo mat is trimmed to 3 7/8 by 5 7/8, and then we use a true 4 by 6 cardstock for the mat. And then I'm just going to fuss around a little with placement. This is another thing, like when I'm working with a one-page layout and I want to get a lot of photos on it, I just fuss around a lot with photo placement. I will be putting on, this photo will be going in a flip flap because the photo of the reveal to the parents and my nephew was a panoramic photo, and I had to cut that photo in half. And so my brother-in-law and my nephew's reaction will go under the photo of Ashley and Brantley. Here I'm just pulling a stamp set from my stash that says it's a boy, and I'm just using a glacier circle with some Harbor ink, and I am stamping up "It's a Boy," and that is going to serve as my title. There's a lot happening on this one-page layout, so I wanted to keep the title small and let it be part of the upper cluster element. And I think that Harbor ink looks really nice against that glacier. Here I'm just using literally some scrap pieces of this collection, just different pieces of the collection, just to introduce a little bit of visual interest. I am dovetailing, not measuring anything at all. Like I said, these are literally scraps. First I cut them in half, so I'll have dovetails in the same pattern paper at the bottom in that cluster element. These star stickers were shortbread. I decided that I wanted them to really stand out on the page, so I pulled in, excuse me, a mini blending brush and some Harbor ink, and I'm just making these star stickers work in a color that will stand out and provide contrast on my page. And I'm adding 3 of those to the layout, so you will see me ink up those 3 really quickly. And anytime you're working with a light color sticker and the color doesn't necessarily match, or you want it to be a different color, you can certainly ink that up. You can use alcohol markers to color that, anything that will help make it fit your project. And here I'm just showing you how the ink absorbed in those stickers. And now we're ready to, since my upper cluster element has that dark Harbor cardstock in the outline, I wanted to, originally I tried to color these. I started out on the fern leaf, you'll see in a moment, with a tri-blend marker, and it did not go well at all. So what I ended up doing here is just using Harbor ink around the edges, and that's just going to add some definition so it's not such stark white against everything else. Here you can see I was trying to use the ice gray shades and in the darker color, and it just didn't work for me. The fern was getting lost in that color, so just inking up here added some good contrast, I think. So I'm going to set that aside. And now I am going to start attaching everything. This is always fun whenever you start attaching all of your parts and pieces. Here I am doing the 4x6 flip flap. And normally I like to attach these to the top of the page protector. That's just my preference, but I don't know where this album, like this album doesn't have a permanent home yet. It doesn't have a permanent album yet, and I did not want this to get lost, so I'm going ahead and attaching it to this photo mat, and then I'll just slice open the page protector when this gets its final home. And there, that is attached, and now we're going to burnish that down to make sure it's attached to the paper very nicely, and we're going to start fidgeting with these photos. Excuse me. You will see me fidget with these 2 horizontal 4x6 or 6x4 photos quite a bit. I just could not visually get them where I wanted them, and if I stood up to look and get a straight down bird's eye view, my head would have gotten in the camera, and I did not want that to happen. So you're just going to see me fidget a little here with placement of those photos. I eventually get happy with their placement. And I love this. The lady in the burgundy at the top is my sister, my baby sister, and this is her first great-grandchild. And this is the moment that Ashley and Brantley disclosed that it was a boy, and I absolutely love that reaction. I'm pretty sure Brantley is the one who captured that photo, and it's just too cute. So here I am getting ready to place my cluster embellishments at the top. This was a pocket card. This little tree stump and the mushrooms and the snail was just a pocket card, and I fussy cut around that. And then I'm adding in those little banners tucked in right behind the little circle title element that says it's a boy. And then I like to just lift my mat up when I can't stand directly over it and just make sure everything looks good. Here I am starting my lower cluster element. Excuse me, I'm using that cute little fox, putting just a little bit of foam behind his tail because his tail does not sit flush. So just a little foam to keep it from crushing. And then I am going to put in that little fern leaf. And now I am attaching those little banner pieces at the bottom to pull that same element from the first cluster. When I create clusters, I like to either repeat colors, repeat elements, or repeat number. And so here I'm doing all of that. Pattern, color, number. And those look really cute tucked in right at the end under that photo, right at the end of that little fox cluster. And then I am ready to start attaching those stars that we colored with Harbor ink. And it was really hard to see them when I was coloring them, but now that I'm putting them on the page, they would have been the same color as that shortbread yellow, that soft shortbread color, and they wouldn't have stood out on the page. And so here this little sticker says Dream Come True, and I felt like that was just a cute little subtitle and just a great way to finish off that little cluster there. And now I am pulling in some bling. Remember, I told you I'm all about bling on boy pages, especially baby boy pages. And so I'm just finishing off this layout with some bling. And then I decided I'm not really going to have room to journal and tell this story. So I pick out a journal card that has those mushrooms, and it's going to be hidden journaling right under that flip flap. And there's it's a 4x6 card, so there's lots of space to journal. I hope you like this. Be sure to like and subscribe.